Still on mute. Welcome, everybody, to the NHL Expansion Draft Spectacular. Even though all the picks have been revealed, we got a lot to discuss today. I'm joined here with Internal Budget's Brandon Maki. And yes, I know Frank Cervelli was just doing his job. Hey, you know what? Blame the NHL for having the picks released at 10 o'clock instead of 8 or 7:30. That's why the picks were released. But we got plenty of coming up. For example, there's obviously a lot of side deals, so we're going to see a lot of side deals today, Brandon. On top of that, you know what? Maybe the reports were wrong. We shall see. But before we get into today's stream, a couple of things. Firstly, this Friday, starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we did it last year. We did it the year prior to that. We're going to do it again this year. And a National Hockey League Draft live show for 4+ hours, starting this Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Brandon Maki will be joining the show, plus many other great guests. So stay tuned for that this Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on youtube.com/Sens Talk. Pardon me as well. Craig Button the other day, last Saturday, joined the show. He discussed NHL draft, the expansion draft, and Pierre McGuire and more. If you haven't checked that one out, what are you doing? Check it out. Thanks again, Craig, for joining the show. A lot of people liked it, so make sure to check that one out. I'm appreciative of everyone that has done so far. So we'll go to SeatGeek.com, use the promo code SENSTALK. You'll save $20 off your first purchase. Now that I'm done with all that, Brandon, how are we feeling today?
Feeling good, man. It's always a big day in the hockey world when the two Brandons of Sens Twitter join forces. A little bit of disrespect to Brandon Pillar there, but it's because I'm bitter that he got verified before I did. But
yeah, that was crazy. Eh?
It is nuts. It's ridiculous. But
it's a celebrity.
That's what it is. Exactly. But
yeah,
no, it's I'm happy to be here, man. Thank you for having me as always. Pleasure. And I know the picks have kind of been leaked already, but I think there's still going to be plenty to talk about tonight. I don't know how active the Ottawa Senators are going to be in terms of those expansion side deals. I really don't think that they made any kind of deal to get Seattle to take Joey Daccord. Doesn't sound like something they would do.
Don't know why they would either, right?
No, but never put anything past this team. So, but we're going to see what happens. I think maybe tomorrow we'll hear about some moves that they've made. Maybe Logan Brown's getting out of town. Maybe Evgeny Dadonov and Chris Tierney are getting traded. Like as we lead up to the draft, there is tons that could happen with this hockey team. So I'm anxious to see what's going on.
And on that note, like I said at the beginning of today's stream, we know the picks, and we'll discuss the picks in length in a minute. But as a reporter based out of Seattle mentioned, a lot of people in the National Hockey League circle are mentioning how there's likely a lot of side deals. And I think that should be expected because of some of these picks, which we'll discuss in a second. But I think it's important to note that, hey, if you're here and you're disappointed that Frank Cervelli released all the picks, listen, I mentioned this at the beginning. I'll say it again. He's just doing his job. Blame the National Hockey League for making the deadline 7 hours before the expansion draft. Obviously, the picks are going to be leaked. However, from what we saw with some of those picks, like Morgan Geekie instead of Ben Bean being taken from Carolina, for example, that's one of an example of, I think there's probably a side deal there. So for Ottawa, we already know who's going to be taken. It's really unfortunate. It's going to be Joey Daccord. It really is a shame because Joey Daccord was just such a great guy. You know, if you see the behind the scene footage that the Senators have put out with Joey Daccord, especially after that first win, I believe it was against Toronto, right? It's his first W against Toronto?
Yeah, it was.
So it's against Toronto. So obviously that's an added plus. But Joey Daccord also is a friend of the show. He's a great guy, very humble, very passionate, puts his heart on his sleeve. And Ottawa's going to lose a good player in this expansion draft. But it hurts more that it's Joey Daccord because of how much of a humble and great guy he was. But luckily, Ottawa has a lot of depth in the goaltending department. But Brandon, how are we feeling about the loss of Joey Daccord in this year's expansion draft?
Throw it right to me. I throw me under the bus. I got to eat some crow on this because I've been saying since January that Seattle was not going to take Joey Daccord. I frankly didn't see a reason why they would with the quality of goaltenders that they had available to them and just the sheer quantity of goaltenders that they had available to them. But clearly they see something in Joey Daccord that they like. I don't blame them. He's a phenomenal goaltender. Yeah. It sucks to lose him. The Senators are in the fortunate position of it not being crippling. their goaltending pipeline is not crippled now. They have Philip Gustafson coming. They have Kevin Mandolese, Matt Sogard, Levi Merrilainen, potentially picking a goalie 10th overall on Friday. So they're okay. But I mean, you hit the nail on the head. To lose a guy of that quality who was clearly beloved by his teammates, has such a bright future, it sucks. It really does suck. The Sens are going to be okay, but I'd be lying if I said this one doesn't sting a little bit.
And like I said in my tweet, as you can see on the screen here, I fully expect that Joey Daccord will be a starting netminder in the National Hockey League within at least the next 5 years. He has the tools, he has the passion, and I think he just has the ceiling to do it. I think this kid, when this scenario was brought out, and I think it was very evident when Trent Mann discussed in his press conference the other day about how the Sanders are definitely not willing to take a goaltender. They're very okay with it. I think that was pretty telling that within the Sanders organization, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know, maybe I didn't want to speculate, but I think looking back at it, I think it was a pretty clear example of that. The Sanders were pretty understanding that they're probably going to lose Joey Daccord in this situation. I think they knew that. And I think that's why we may see a Costa, we may see a Wallstat going 10th overall to the Ottawa Sanders. Now, would I necessarily do that? We'll see. Jesper Wallstat definitely has the potential to be that franchise goaltender that many teams in the National Hockey League covet. But that being said, listen, Ottawa has an abundance of goaltending prospects, a couple of them who I think can truly be potential stars in this league. So if there's a better player like a Mason McTavish there, for example, I say maybe go for that. But at the end of the day, if Ottawa takes Wallstat at 10th overall, I'm not going to be too upset because he still has the potential to be a franchise netminder, and you can never say no to that.
Yeah, I would. I think I'm in total agreement. The one thing I will say is I am not going to be upset if the Senators get another quality center. I think they need that pretty desperately. I don't know if Mason McTavish falls to 10. I'd be thrilled if he does.
Probably not.
Same can be said of Jesper Wallstedt. Like, there are a lot of teams that are in need of goaltending prospects. Detroit being one of them, LA being one of them, both of whom pick ahead of Ottawa. So could Wallstedt fall to one of those teams? Yeah, I think so. There's been a lot of conjecture over the past few days, especially about Ottawa picking Sebastian Cossa, and maybe that's a route they go down. At this point,
in a scenario like that, though, if they're going to take Costa, who it definitely is a first round talent, but not as Wallstedt, who's probably top 5, top 10.
Yeah.
In that type of situation, you better be trading down then, because Costa is not going 10th overall. I would probably try the trade down at least. And if you can't, take the pick, because obviously if that's your player, take him. But my point is, for a guy like that, I want to see good asset management, especially with an addition like Pierre McGuire to the team. Make a move, draw it back a bit, get some more assets, and then take your guy.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't always been willing to trade down, though. You know what I mean? Like, last year, they tried really hard to trade up. I think this year's draft and the discourse around it is a lot calmer, just based on the fact that in all reality, the Senators are not getting a Tim Stützle or a Jake Sanderson at number 10 this year. It's just not happening.
Probably not.
Maybe they're lucky enough to get a guy like Shane Pinto at number 10. Maybe that kind of player, maybe really Greg at number 10.
Like, if we get a McTavish at number 10, that's a steal, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. If he falls to 10, I'll be doing cartwheels because he's a phenomenal player, and he would fit well in their system. Cole Sillinger is another guy I really like. Chaz Lucius, I think, would be a good fit too.
Coronado.
Yeah, I think, that U.S. development program has been really good to Ottawa. And I think if they want to keep that pipeline going, I'm all for that. But as far as the goalies go, I'm comfortable at this point. I'm comfortable with whatever route this scouting team decides to go down, because they really haven't done any wrong over the past few years, which is pretty remarkable when you think about it. Like, I know a lot of folks last year were not happy with the Senators draft. I would wholeheartly disagree with that. I think the draft was phenomenal last year. And I think, I think they have a good idea of the player they're looking for. So I'm going to withhold judgment until I see the kid play. I had my opinions about Pinto. I had my opinions about Lassie Thompson, and I've been proven wrong and proven right in a lot of senses. We're getting some comments about Anyone else feel like Dorian is shopping our second rounders and a prospect for a defenseman? I mean, he should be.
Yeah.
What do they have? 4 second rounders over the next 2 years?
We have 11 picks in the next draft. It's time to start unloading that, start getting some NHL talent to the roster.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for that. I think, I'm a big proponent of moving picks for proven NHL assets. I know a lot of people are not. But I think for me, if you got that second round pick and you've got 4 of them over the next 2 years, why wouldn't you package that with maybe an asset and get a good player back? Get a Christian Dvorak back. He's a guy who's been thrown around today. So, I definitely
Strome
think. Yeah, Strome too.
Some names, yeah. But Ottawa is talking about number 1 centers. Dvorak is a nice player. Obviously, Ryan Strome's a nice player, 49 points, 56 games last year, obviously with Panarin. So there's a little bit of a buffer there. But you also have to understand, hey, you know what? Without Panarin in a short stint, he also still continued to produce. For sure. I think Strome's a good player, but he's not a number 1 center. Let's just be honest.
No.
There's on a contender. But my point though is, like you mentioned with the draft, I learned my mistake. The Brady Tkachuk draft. I learned my mistake.
Same.
There's plenty, and I mean plenty. We both can agree. Plenty to judge this team on. And I mean plenty in all aspects of things. But there's one thing where I will always fight you to the death on when it comes to this organization, and it's its ability to draft in the late rounds and its amateur scouting team. It's probably one of the best amateur scouting teams in the entire National Hockey League. I will fight you to the death if you disagree with me on that, because that is just a truth. That's just the truth. You don't draft Drake Batherson in the 4th round. You don't draft Mark Stone in the 6th round. You don't draft Alfie. You don't draft all these stars late in the round in the draft rounds if you don't have one of the best scouting teams or departments in the National Hockey League. And it's for a small team, small market team like Ottawa. And I mentioned this in the Craig Button episode. It's kind of like the Oakland A's in the MLB. You're not going to beat out other teams when it comes to free agency. So you got to build build through the draft. So there's nothing more important than amateur scouts for an organization. And that is one thing this team has always continually gotten right. It's their amateur scouting and the players they select. So I just have to say one thing. If you're a Sens fan and you have any disagreements with what the Sanders do in a draft, give it a year. I guarantee 4 out of the 8 picks that you disagreed with, or whatever, half of the picks that you disagreed with, you're probably going to agree with them by the end of the year. That's just usually the trend with this team.
Yeah. How many scouts do you think are kicking themselves for not banging the table for Igor Sokolov in the 2nd round last year? After the season he just had, right?
I remember a lot of people were confused. He was drafted in the late second round, right? So I remember
it was early enough, but yeah,
whatever it was. I remember we made the trade to get him, and I remember right away you saw that TikTok video where he was with his family that he stayed with, and when he came over from Russia.
Yeah,
like this guy is an absolute beauty, and I think he has a bright future in the National Hockey League, and he's a prime example of why you cannot judge this team. You cannot judge this team before you see what these guys can do on the ice, because time and time again, look at Levi Merlanen. Like this team just pulls diamonds out of the rough time and time again.
And if somebody's got the Sportsnet link for this, drop it in the chat, because I can't find it on their website right now, and I'm about to throw my laptop.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. We already know by the way, you know what? While people are doing that, I'm going to throw on the actual draft list, what we're looking like for Seattle. So I'm going to throw that on the screen so everyone can see. Potential. Call it Yarncroc. I think he's a hard-nosed winger. He could get 35 to 45 points. He's a tough winger to play against. He could contribute a bit. Vince Dunn, pardon me. Definitely, I think he can, like what we saw with Shea Theodore with Vegas. I don't know if he'll reach the ceiling as Shea Theodore did. However, Vince Dunn can definitely flourish big time with more ice time in Seattle. Appleton from Winnipeg has a solid third line winger for them. Fleury from Anaheim reunited with his brother from Montreal as they took Fleury from Montreal as well. Giordano from Calgary. That's an interesting one. Won a North a couple of years ago, so that's pretty interesting.
Some speculation they might flip him too.
Yeah, really. Have you heard where potentially?
Somebody was reporting that the Rangers were in the mix. I believe it was Rick Carpinelli of The Athletic.
Rangers. Okay, so keep an eye out for that tonight because that's definitely a possibility. But Adam Larson from Edmonton Oilers, and I think you mentioned this week that you would have loved to see Ottawa take or sign Adam Larson through free agency, right?
Yeah, I was big on the Adam Larson train, and now he's ended up in Seattle, so that sucks. Because especially for the reported figures that were rumored, even from his offer in Edmonton, would have been perfect with Ottawa, would have fit well within their salary structure. And then he goes to the expansion team. You can't blame him. I think Seattle's got a lot of money to throw at people right now in terms of bonuses, probably. And beyond that, it's an exciting team to play for, and I think they're going to be pretty good. So
I think especially with the trades we're about to see within the next 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yes, I'm very curious to see what kind of side deals we've seen. What do you think of the Alexiak contract?
I think I'll throw it up on the screen here one sec. Well, let me just go through the teams real quick just so people can see. So Lind is a good prospect from Vancouver. McDermott, true. There's definitely some trades there. I think McDermott might be something. Vegas exempt because NHL is good at NHL. Boston Lazen is a decent defender. Borgen, it's Buffalo, not much to select. No offense to him, I'm sure he's fine. Cholowiski, I think he has some potential. Chris Driedger, former Senator prospect. He had a perfect third period against Calgary in 2015 with the Senators, and I'm sure he'll continue that success with Seattle. Fleury, like I mentioned, from Montreal. Joey Dax from Ottawa, it's going to make me shed a tear. Yanni Gourde is certainly going to be a star on this team from Tampa Bay. McCann, it's kind of hilarious how that ended up with Toronto. Morgan Geekie, fantastic name from Carolina. Columbus is Beruther. Sorry if I butchered that. Bastian from New Jersey.
Nice player.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. I'm sure he's solid. Jordan Eberle, though, I think he's a solid. He can contribute something. Colin Blackwell, you need a little bit of grit on your team. Toriansky, there's definitely a trade there because JVR and Voracek were available. Tanev, is a solid defender. Not defender. That's from Calgary.
Right. He's a solid forward though. He's a really good bottom six forward.
Are there?
There's two. Two. Okay. Well, and his name's Brandon. How'd you forget that?
Not a great look. It's not a great look. And then we're going to finish off the list with Vitek Vanacek from the Washington Capitals. And hey, you know what? That one doesn't shock me, to be honest. I'm not shocked at all that they took Vanacek. I'm more shocked. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm more surprised that they took Daccord than I am that they took Vanacek.
Well, once they tweeted out, I think the Minnesota Wild Insider tweeted out that that Kakinen was not going to be taken by Minnesota. I knew right away. There's no other player exempt, waiver player exempt.
Yeah.
At the goaltending position anyway.
That's the key, right? Like being waiver exempt, they can kind of throw him down in the minors, and
they only needed one because they are sharing their AHL team. If you didn't know, they're sharing their AHL team for the first year of Seattle. So it's not like they have an abundance of space in the AHL team anyways. So they definitely needed a player that perfectly fit that. And hey, Joey Daccord, he can play some NHL games, but he also can start many games in the AHL for you. So he is as good as it gets for a new franchise being birthed as we watch here, as they're becoming a franchise in the National Hockey League. And I think Joey Daccord is exactly what you want. You want a good prospect, and he's that. Now, like you mentioned, Jamie Alexiak with Seattle, 5 years at approximately $4.6 million per year. Now, I like Jamie Alexiak. I think he would have been solid to bring to the Ottawa Senators through free agency. However, I think it's important to mention that 5 years at $4.6 million is a little much for me. The term is what the issue is with me. If you want to pay Alexiak, if you're Ottawa, for 2 to 3 years, do it. Because if he's a valuable big body defender who can contribute a bit offensively, but more importantly, he's a solid defender, and Ottawa definitely needs some stability in the back end. So if it was a 3-year deal at 4.6, it's a little high for my liking, but it's only 2 to 3 years there. But 5 years, a little long term for me. What say you, Brandon?
No, that you're right. That's a little rich for my blood. It's a contract that I'm glad the Senators didn't sign. Sorry, I'm replying to Bosty's smart ass comment. It's my girlfriend's place. You think I'm allowed to put anything up on the wall? I'm lucky I'm allowed to live here.
Boss, this is art right behind me. Like, that's Sparty. How dare you? That's Sparty. Like, are we disrespecting? We don't disrespect Sparty in the Sens Talk streams. Come on now.
Yeah, but to the point about Alexiak, I don't think he's overpaid. I think that's probably okay in terms of an AAV. I don't love the term, like you said. He's a big hulking defender who plays a physical game. Those guys don't typically age well.
Yeah.
I think
shorter, it's better.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just more of a skill game, right? Like he plays a physical game. Like he makes his money throwing hits and fighting, and clearing the front of the net, which is not an easy position on your body. So, term's a little rich for my blood, but we know that as an expansion team, Seattle is going to have to overcommit and overpay to get guys to come to their team. I don't think people are giving them the benefit of the doubt based on the success that the Vegas Golden Knights had. Time will tell if it's going to be a repeat of the Vegas situation. My gut says right now it's not. I think Vegas had way more NHL talent off the bat, and we're going to see what else Seattle can pull off through free agency and through and through flipping assets. But right now, I kind of see them as a bubble team. Maybe they squeak into the playoffs in their first year.
You know what I see them? I see them as literally. They're kind of, to be honest, they're in the same situation as Ottawa, especially because of their division.
Yeah.
The playoff rules stand from last year and repeat into this year where the top four in each division make it, which I'm not a fan of, by the way. I'm really not a fan of that at all. But if that is the case and that does stay the same, a team like Seattle could definitely sneak in because that Pacific division is the worst in hockey. It's definition mediocre.
It's so top heavy. You've got Vegas, who's a complete powerhouse, and you've got Vancouver, who's nothing short of a mess. I don't
consider Vancouver a contender.
Look at the drip on Ronnie Francis.
If your division has one contender at the most, it's mediocre at best. So
we need to pay some respect to this drip Ron Francis is walking. Look at that chain.
But he's feeling it.
Looks like the guy from the Trivago ads, but you know what? He's pulling it off.
You know what? Seattle's treating him nicely, I think. And I think Seattle, and Mark Mathot continues to mention this on the Wally Mathot show too, and I think it's a great point about taxes. Taxes play a key role in players' desire to go places. For example, I don't think a player, especially a player that's been in the league for only a few years, is not a Sidney Crosby type, more of a third liner. He's going to get paid $3 million in California or $3 million in Washington State and Seattle. The difference is huge. California tax is like 40%. And meanwhile, in Washington, they have no actual real tax, I believe, for I forgot what it was. They have very limited taxes for certain things when it comes to income. So Sean Simpson actually mentioned something interesting today where he mentioned how potentially the NHL should do like a net sort of cap where they take into account the taxation stuff. I don't know if you can ever do that as a league. I think that just is the way life works.
Atlantic Division's first up for the picks.
Up, and we got it. So I'll tell everyone now. So the first player to be selected from the Boston Bruins for Seattle is Jeremy Lauzon, a defender. Like I said, he's a solid depth guy, and he's young, so he has potential to grow too.
Yeah, he has the potential to kind of probably top out as a second pairing guy. I watched a lot of the Bruins this year, especially in the playoffs, and I like his game. He's still got some development to do, but I think he's going to fit in with a sizable role on an expansion team. And this blue line is figuring to be pretty deep that Seattle's got. Even if they flip a guy like Giordano, they're looking pretty solid.
Yeah, I agree. I think also with Dunn there too. Hey, listen, Dunn, I mentioned it before and I'll say it again. Vince Dunn, he can be sort of like Shea Theodora when he did with Vegas. Yes. Not the same ceiling, but with that amount of ice time, that leash that he's going to be given for a young team, a new team like Seattle, I think Vince Dunn can really flourish with a team like Seattle and, become one of those top defenders that a lot of people thought he was going to be. And now we have here, I don't know who's going to be selecting next, but everyone in the chat box or everyone watching, ask some questions. I look forward. I will definitely answer some here with Brandon Maki.
Look at the crowd. I'm so happy for this fan base. I love this, man. Like when you get an expansion team, you get a fan base that's rabid about hockey. They finally get a chance. Yeah. This is great. I really do love this.
Seattle really needs, though. Bring back the Sonics.
Yes, no argument from me there. What a powerhouse sports city they would be. You bring back the Sonics, you got the Kraken, you got the Seahawks.
Screw the Seahawks.
Whew. Oh, yeah, 49ers fan.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Big signing today on a different note, Fred Warner.
Yeah, I mean, he's no Devin White, but he's all right.
Okay, all right. Fred Warner's the best linebacker in the league. We'll just leave it at that. By the way, Will Borgen just taken from the Buffalo Sabres to Seattle Kraken. So we're a few minutes away from Joey Daccord officially not being an Ottawa Senator, which kind of sucks. But Borgen from Buffalo, listen, he's 24. He's played in the league for a couple of years. Like I said, depth defender type of guy. But at the end of the day, every team needs some depth, right?
How about the rumors? And sorry, not to go too off topic.
All good.
I don't have many thoughts on Will Borgen, but with no disrespect intended. But I mean, how about these rumors about the Edmonton Oilers potentially trading for Zach Hyman's rights to offer him an 8-year deal?
Wait, repeat that.
So there's rumors going around that the Oilers are potentially working on a sign and trade with the Leafs, where they would be allowed to sign Zach Hyman to a max term 8-year deal.
What the hell is going on in Edmonton?
It's like Ken Holland. Are you okay?
Like, what is going on? Duncan Keith
gave up assets for Duncan Keith.
You lose Adam Larson, and that. Whatever. If you're a Sens fan, just be happy you're not an Oilers fan, to be honest. Only the Oilers can screw up Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on the same team. Only the Oilers is actually a shame because the Edmonton Oilers are the Los Angeles Angels of the National Hockey League.
Whoa. Why do we have people talking about a Brady Tkachuk offer sheet in the chat from Seattle?
I don't know. That can't be true.
I have not heard anything of that nature.
No sources told me that. Twitter hasn't told me that.
Yeah.
Unless who said that?
It was Nick. Yeah.
Unless Nick is 007 and has sources I don't. I'm just gonna say that's probably not true. But Nick, hey, you know what? If you know something, let us know.
Yeah. Slide in the DMs. My email's in my bio. I get spam in it all the time because of that.
Let us know.
Look at that Columbus Blue Jackets jersey.
You know, I love the old Blue Jackets jersey.
I hate it. The wand and the stick looking like a magic wand. It looks stupid.
We got Nick apologize in the chat, buddy. It's okay. Don't worry. It's okay.
It's all good, brother. It's all good. It's all love.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm just gonna come to your house and beat you up.
Yeah,
it's all good.
I'm gonna throw toilet paper over it. No big deal. No big deal.
Brian,
Twitter? Okay, I got you.
Brian 5 or 6 and I are gonna chainsaw your deck in half.
Isn't he like what's this show again?
Stittsville on Patrol, man.
Right? Yeah. That's
it's fantastic. Check it out if you haven't seen it. It's very good.
Everyone check it out. Now we're here in commercial because
folks, look, just to get this out there, even on the off chance that somebody does offer sheet Brady Tkachuk, I don't know if there's a universe where the Sens don't match it. I don't want to jinx anything.
I don't think they can even.
But unless somebody submits a $12 million offer sheet to Brady Tkachuk, I don't see it. And at that point, even I'm kind of like, okay, no, you're not paying Brady Tkachuk $12 million.
No one
love Brady Tkachuk, but
Ottawa,
come on.
Even at that point, Ottawa would get 4 first-round picks too because it's over 11.
Yeah, like
so that's just never going to happen. But realistically, if there's one player that Eugene Melnyk, the Sanders organization, or any team, this is not even a slant against Melnyk in the sense, any team, especially with the turmoil and let's call it the bad PR that this team has gone through the last 3 years, Brady Tkachuk's that one player you're dumping all your money into because if you lose him, you lose your fan base once again, and you don't recover from that. Like you promised to keep a guy like Brady Tkachuk here for the rest of his career, and it's time to deliver because it's time.
Yeah.
He's coming
and
he's knocking and he wants his money. So we shall see. I know Elliot Freeman reported like a 3-year deal potentially a couple weeks ago with Brady Tkachuk would most likely be the term on that.
Sounds about right.
Term, but I understand it. And I mentioned this in a tweet. This doesn't necessarily mean Brady Tkachuk does not want to be an Ottawa Senator long term. And more so means that his agent is smart. He is smart. He learned from the Maki Tkachuk situation and he
knows his value.
I'm going to capitalize on as much money as I can make here. And if it's with Ottawa, fantastic. That's where I want to be. And if it's not, this is a business. I got to make money. And I understand that. It's the standards have to match the price because, hey, there's a market that, especially in National Hockey League circles, that salivate and drool over a player like a Brady Tkachuk.
Daniel, captain of Seattle will be Giordano unless they flip him. Captain of the Sens, like I know Melnick kind of alluded to the fact that he doesn't want the captain on a bridge deal, but I don't see how it's not Brady Tkachuk.
At the end of the day, if I'm DJ Smith or Pierre Dorion or even Pierre McGuire, I'm telling Eugene, this is not really like he should be involved. It's his organization. He's paying the bills.
He signs the checks.
He signs the checks. He absolutely has not. This is not without a question. He has the right to do whatever the hell he wants. This is his organization, and I think a lot of Sens fans forget that he's still paying hundreds of millions of dollars the last couple of years. Okay, he's not like he's not paying anything. He has a right to have a say in some things, especially when it comes to a captain.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I think what should outweigh the owner's opinion should be what's best for the locker room. And if the locker room wants Brady Tkachuk to be the captain, I think Melnick should be okay with that because, hey, a happy locker room will equal success. Success equals more money into his pocket. I think it's a very simple equation. So if the team wants Brady Tkachuk to be captain, I think most teams usually vote on their captain, like I know Montreal did with Pacioretty, then do it. And if Chabot's the captain, I think a lot of Sens fans and Senator players are very happy with that too. So Ottawa really can't go wrong.
I mean,
unless they put like Gabriel Dumont as the captain.
Well, from a PR perspective, if you don't get Brady Tkachuk signed long term and you don't give him the captaincy, that doesn't look good.
No,
just who's Florida? Dreger. Oh yeah, we knew that one.
Chris Dreger. Hey, good luck to him. I've always liked Dreger. I remember
he was good.
I mentioned earlier. I remember him when he was with Ottawa. He had that perfect period against Calgary. He ended up playing 50 minutes after that.
Oh, he's in the flesh.
Number 60. Okay,
dude, those jerseys are clean.
It's about time NHL has some new color in the league.
I want one when I can actually afford it. So, everybody started GoFundMe to buy a Kraken jersey. I'll buy a Joey Daccord one. That'll get me canceled on Sens Twitter probably.
A lot of stuff will get you canceled on Sens Twitter, but that's a story for another day. Now, Chris Dreger here is giving a nice press conference. I love this. I think this is great. Vegas didn't really do this.
They did. They brought Fleury out.
They brought Fleury, but I think I think this is interesting though for Seattle because it's not going to just be Dreger that's brought out. Giordano will also be brought out. They're going to bring up multiple players, and on top of that, I think the difference is, and this is not really a fair slant towards Vegas, I guess, but being outside because of COVID, it's better to be outside, less transmission rates. So when you're outside there, I'm sure hopefully everyone's vaccinated there. It looks more intimate. So it's like you're actually building something like an actual community there. So I think it's really cool what they're doing there. And like you said at the beginning of the show, they have a passionate fan base already. I think Seattle is really going to work out for the National Hockey League. I think this is a slam dunk. I think this is really a slam dunk.
Their branding team is just unbelievably good. Like, look at the logo, their marketing.
Yeah, Fleury, Habs, Joey Daccord's next. Ugh.
Yeah, this is going to be
still
fun.
holding out. It's going to be like Jonathan Davidson. Fresh, Jay Fresh. You
sure y'all don't want Chris Tierney? Or maybe they're going to trade.
They want Jonathan Davidson, man.
Maybe they're going to trade Daccord back to Ottawa for Chris Tierney.
I'll do it. that.
And 10th overall.
I don't know about that one, my friend. Mel Fleury. I remember he was supposed to be like a stud of a prospect. I haven't heard about him in a few years.
He's 22 and he's been playing on a veteran blue line. You got guys on that Montreal blue line like Sherratt and Weber and Edmondson and all kinds, and Mike Riley for a time even. So they've been kind of backloaded there. I think he'll get a good look in Seattle, and I think he'll do well. I mean, I haven't hated anything I've seen from the player at any point. So,
well, here we go. The pick's about to be made. I hate this. Like, he's a friend of the show. He's a great guy, but I think he's going to flourish in Seattle, and it's going to be their start in the next few years. I think.
Why are they dwelling on Cale Fleury? Move on.
It's the Habs ratings, baby.
Oh,
ratings, baby. Here we go. I'm not even going to look at the chat because it's going to ruin it.
Oh, that's my God.
All right, if Joey's going to Seattle, better be in style.
This is horrible. This is the most meme-worthy thing that has ever happened to the Sens.
Hey. If you want your name announced, I'd rather it be this way. Oh, that's Macklemore. That's Macklemore.
Yeah,
What?
that's what I'm saying.
What? That's
Matt
Macklemore. Thrift
Matt
shop
Bosty's
Macklemore.
gonna have a heart attack.
What?
Oh dear God, this is gonna be a Capital
Maybe
Games is gonna have a
Sens
field
Twitter
day with this one.
Of course, is on the Ottawa pick. One take, Joey. All right, they've taken goaltender Joey Daccord from the Ottawa Sens.
That was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
Joey Daccord is going to be a star in Seattle, and we wish him the best of luck.
From Macklemore's delivery to the crowd going, "Who the hell is Joey Daccord?" Like, oh God, why would they bring out Macklemore for Joey Daccord? Like, what? Who are they bringing out? Who are they bringing out to announce Giordano? Biden? Like, what is this?
Who knows? But once again, back to Joey for a sec. I think this is a great opportunity for him. I think he'll start off as their third goaltender. He'll probably by the end of the year be somewhere in the National Hockey League side of things. And I think in the next couple of years, we may be talking about Joey Daccord as a starter in Seattle. So congratulations to him. Good luck to him. And we'll miss him and we'll be rooting for you. And Yanni Gourde just taken from Tampa Bay. That is going to be their star player. That guy is easily going to get 60 or 70 points because he's going to be their leading guy. If you're a fantasy hockey player, draft this guy in the top 5 rounds because he's going to be the only guy. As of right now, from what we've seen on the roster, he's going to be the main point getter for Seattle.
I think so. I love the Yanni Gourde pick. I think that's a guy I would have loved to see Ottawa take a swing at if they could have managed it up the middle. He would have been your perfect second-line center, but going to be really good for the Kraken. Going to get a top-line look right away, I think, and I think you're going to see some fireworks no matter who he plays with.
Just sucks. Love the kid. That's just unfortunate. But once again, I think it's a great opportunity for him. I'm going to go to the chat here. Romanov, I think he was exempt, right?
Yes. Protected. Yeah.
Let's see here. Any other things? Nick says, I live in Everett. Oh, that's cool. You won't be canceled. And if Seattle's their second team, I don't even blame you because that's around the same area. It's cool. Thanks for watching, bud. Just Andre asked, what player do you want the Sens to draft? I like Coronado. I like Lucius. I like Sillinger. I just want to score. And if Wallstadt's there and they take Wallstadt, I'm okay with that too. All right, we got the next pick here. Pardon me. Air quality. Brandon and I were talking about this before the show. It's been, if you're in Ontario, you know how bad the air's been here lately. It's too bad. It's terrible.
Horrible.
Oh, we already saw this. Why are they even showing it?
No, but it's not who you think it is because the take we saw was Kerfoot and it's McCann that they're taking
too. They posted.
Oh, I didn't see the McCann take.
They leaked both.
Yeah, that's smart.
The whole situation is just like it just upsets me that NHL keeps on shooting themselves in the foot. Like it's just you had an opportunity here to really do something cool and then everything got leaked. That's not the reporter's fault. That's the NHL's fault. Jared McCann, taken from Toronto.
Jared McCann, that's just poor asset management by Kyle Dubas. You have a guy who's better than Alex Kerfoot and better than Justin Hall, but you protect both McCann and you expose both McCann and Kerfoot to protect.
Well, I think the idea was
in Hall.
I think the idea was they value Kerfoot a lot, and I guess they value Hall. But
why are you protecting?
I'm picking a prospect for McCann. Yeah.
I'm keeping Jared McCann over Justin Hall every day. You can find 9 players like Justin Hall on the free agent.
Yeah, but Hall wouldn't have been taken if they were going to protect.
Then they take Kerfoot and you have McCann, who's his replacement.
Yeah, but that makes
and he's better.
It's Toronto, buddy. It's Toronto.
Yeah, but usually they're pretty okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's nonsense. I think by the Leafs. I think that one's going to come back to haunt them.
I don't know if it's going to haunt them because it's not like losing, for example, like when Ottawa lost Marc Methot, that literally ruined the franchise. So let's put everything into perspective. I think Toronto will be okay. It's still a third-line winger.
I'll tell.
I
understand. I will tell you this: the Leafs are going to regret not having Jared McCann this year. I don't think people understand how good this guy is.
I don't knock that. I think he could be a solid middle 6 forward who can play penalty kill minutes.
Top 6.
Reminds me of like Nick Paul.
Top 6. He's top 6. His offensive play drive, his offensive output is unbelievable. Like
he'll get opportunities in Seattle, that's for sure.
What are they?
Another fish.
Oh. Shout out to JT Brown. Good for him.
Yeah, that's cool. Doesn't he work for them now?
Yeah, he's working as broadcaster now. He's going to be he's their color guy, I think. Either that or he's working in studio. Actually, I think it's color. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. He played in the NHL. He would,
Yeah, I think he's with John. They got an amazing broadcast team. They got John Forsland doing their broadcasts.
Yeah, I saw that. That's Ron Francis. I think definitely had a say on that because the Carolina connection there.
Yeah, he got a raw deal from Carolina.
The fish is on the plate. That must be something, maybe a tradition there. I don't know, but can't drop the fish. I guess it's like in the Jewish religion, you can't drop. Like I'm Jewish, you can't drop challah, for example, like a bread. So I guess maybe that's the same thing in Seattle. You can't drop the fish. I don't know. What's going on here? More commercials. Great. So I get to watch advertisement for something I already know. Love it. You love to see it. During the commercial break.
Yeah, like are there any teams that we don't know or have all the picks been leaked?
Detroit was the last one, and then Chelowski was announced.
Oh yeah, that's ending on a high note.
So while we're in commercial break, let's firstly, if you're in the chat box right now, ask some questions. Let's get some conversation going here. But on top of that, conversation started here. This is interesting. Today, Bruce Garriock mentioned how the expectation is the Ottawa Senators will now focus on trading Evgeny Dadonov and Chris Turney before the season gets underway. Now, Chris Turney makes sense. He's making $4.3 million, minimal production, not much defensive production either. Just a guy with some value who doesn't really fit the scheme of things in Ottawa anymore. So him should be traded 100%, make some room for some other centers. Evgeny Dadonov, it baffles me. Unless the Ottawa Senators are going to put that money into other talent to bring in through free agency and or trade, what the hell are you doing here? You signed him last year, not 3-4 years ago. It was 1 year, 2 years left with $10 million total owed. It's not that much. And if Evgeny Dadonov had a down year, I think he can rebound. I think he should rebound, and I think he will rebound.
And why are you
Evgeny Dadonov? It's important to mention this. If you don't replace Evgeny Dadonov's position on the right wing by signing somebody in free agency, you're going to force the Senators to call up Igor Sokolov prematurely if they do not start off hot out of the gates. This is a dangerous precedent that the Senators are putting. It's stupid. And now you're putting a Connor Brown potentially, you're pushing him up to the top 6 when he's much more comfortable and produces incredibly on the third line. I don't get this. What about you?
There's nothing makes sense about this. If you did want to get rid of him, why would you expose him, bank on Seattle taking his contract? And in all fairness, I thought they were going to take him. And then now what value does he have on the open market? He just cleared an expansion draft.
Well, I think a lot. That's the thing.
I don't. He had a down season and now you just exposed him in expansion. Like his value's tanked now, and even beyond that,
it's not as high as it used to be. But I'd still say Evgeny Dadonov, he still has some pedigree around the league, and I think he's not going to command what he would have before this tweet and before being exempted from the list. I agree with you on that. But I think, hey, if Turney can get, and this is no disrespect to him, but let's be honest, he had a down year last year. If Chris Turney can get some interest around the league,
he's not going to get anything either, I don't think. I really don't think either guy is going to be worth much on the open market. And with Dadonov,
I think you'd be surprised about Turney as a center. I think centers are very valued.
But I mean, with Dadonov, you've got a guy who signed as a marquee free agent last fall, and you dump him after 1 year. What kind of message does that send? Like, people aren't lining up to play in Ottawa to begin with.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, what message are you sending to people that want to come here and are thinking about playing here? I have one down year and I'm going to get shipped off to the next expansion team, or I'm going to get dealt to Arizona. Like what is going on? I don't get it. And I think don't think the coach likes him. That's one of the only things that comes to mind for me. DJ Smith did not seem to want to play him a lot. And I've talked until I've talked about it. I've written about it. I've done everything but tattoo it on my chest. He's a major bounce back candidate for next season.
Yeah.
He really is. Like, his isolated metrics and his analytics were in line with the rest of his career in a year where his ice time dropped, in a weird COVID season where he had to adjust from living in Florida to Ottawa and not playing with Sasha Barkov and Jonathan
Not exactly
Huberdeau.
the same climate.
No. So to dump this guy after 1 year, I don't get it. I think it's going to hurt Ottawa. I really do. I think he's going to bounce back this year. I'm not saying he scores 70 points. Oh, Chanel's on. Chanel is amazing, guys. If you don't follow Chanel on Twitter, go check her out. Seattle's.
I haven't heard of her. Who is she?
She's Seattle's intersectionality consultant.
Oh, cool.
So she does a ton of work in diversity and inclusion and is a big reason why the Kraken are such a progressive organization.
Oh, cool. All right. And I assume that definitely is a new position in the National Hockey League that hopefully we'll see more of in the future with other organizations. Now we're seeing some chats here in the chat box. Daniel T. Carew says, let's hope. I remember talking about him last year saying that the Sens were done with him or something like that. Don't know if that's true. Logan, I think Daniel's talking about Logan Brown. Logan Brown is definitely gone, if that's what you're talking about. Sens Country, power play and stuff. Yes.
Logan Brown's gone.
Yeah, he's definitely gone. And we're Morgan Geeky. And now is there going to be a trade here? Hold on. Because Morgan Geeky was just announced. Are they announcing the trades now? Like, what's going on here?
No, it sounds like they're talking like he's still on the team. So
no, I mean, like, was there a side deal? What's going on here?
Well, the freeze isn't lifted till 1 p.m. tomorrow. Like, how stupid is that?
NHL. Oh, why you got to be so stupid and boring? Man, you would think after watching the NFL and the NBA and how fun and exciting those drafts are and off-season events are, the NHL would figure out a thing or two, especially connecting with ESPN. And instead, they kind of butchered this whole thing, unfortunately. Not the team's fault, it's the league's fault. And as usual, they don't know the market. It's really the greatest game in the world. They can't market it. It's a shame, man. Like, my God.
Tale as old as time.
Gavin Baruther, that's definitely an AHL filler. He's 27, and I don't know who he is.
It was strange that they didn't take Max Domi.
Doesn't he have a long-term deal?
I mean, long enough, but like, why are you taking an AHL filler guy when you have a potential 50, 60-point scorer?
Good question. But at the same time, I think they're going to be very active in the marketplace. I think that's why. I think that's what we're seeing here. And I know John Shannon mentioned earlier today. If you could check his Twitter feed for the source itself. He tweeted out saying that the Seattle Kraken have made 3 free agent additions already. So for Seattle, I think they're going to be really, really active in the free agency side of things. We've already seen that with Larson. We've already seen that with Jamie Alexiak. So I think Seattle's definitely going to be competitive in the market. And that is exactly why I think we're seeing some of these type of odd picks. And Nathan Bastian, you said you like the player. What do you know about him?
I know he's solid in both ends of the ice. He's still young. He's pretty raw. I mean, he hasn't played a ton of games. It's hard to say what you're getting with a player that young with little in the way of NHL experience. But I really like the player. I think he's really solid. I don't know if he's going to be a superstar, but I think he'll probably be a bottom 6, middle 6 contributor. At a decent level, chip in some secondary scoring. We're talking about a guy who was drafted in 2016, right? So,
I'll be honest.
He'll get there, but I mean, I think it's a savvy pick for Seattle. I mean, if you look at the Devils, they really had no one to pick from. So,
well, I'll say this, and you're not going to like this. And I think Sean Malik, I think that's who tweeted out. I don't know who for sure, and I apologize if I got it wrong. But I remember a person on Sens Twitter from Silver 7 Cents. I forget who. It was Sean something. Sean.
It was probably Sean.
Yeah. So Sean tweeted this out. Great tweet. Great. He writes some good stuff too. And he tweeted out how PK Subban's worth $9 million on the cap, but he's going to be paid $2 million. So for a team like Seattle, I thought that would have been a slam dunk. A guy like that for your PR for 1 year, $9 million big on the cap, sure, but it's only for 1 year, and you're only paying him $2 million in real salary. And he's a big name guy. If you're not going to take a Carey Price, take a PK Subban for 1 year, get that publicity, sell those tickets, sell that merchandise, build that fan base. And this is cool. Jordan Eberle is walking onto the stage wearing number 7 for the Seattle Kraken in the white jersey. The white jersey is so clean.
That's clean.
Oh, okay. Let me know in the chat box here. Do y'all love the white jerseys or the blue home jerseys? I am loving the white jerseys. I like that teal. What about you?
They're clean. They are clean. I love the teal, but I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, they've got such a gorgeous uniform set. I don't know if a team has entered the league with such a nice uniform set
Ottawa,
ever.
1992. The white stripes on those black jerseys.
Ooh, that's true. That's true.
They're better. They're better than the ones we have right now. Those are the best jerseys this
Ooh, I don't know about
organization's
that.
ever
They
had.
didn't enter with the white stripes. White stripes came after. Fool.
Was that 95 or 92? Was 90? I'm
No,
pretty sure 90.
they originally
Was
entered
90
with
just the
they
red
originally entered with the red on red. So they had the black and then the red letters and red numbers, and nobody could read the backs of
red
the jerseys.
stripes, no white. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So what they have now
95 was the
essentially.
white.
Yeah.
95 was okay.
Yes, 95, 96, I think.
Well, those are the nicest ones by far this organization will ever have. Those were just, and then Prime Alfie with the lettuce, not Prime, but like young Alfie, the lettuce coming out of his bucket. I wish I was alive for those days. I wasn't, unfortunately.
Don't make me feel old. I'm still young.
Well, I'm not too much younger than you. How old are you?
I'll be 23 in September.
We're only a couple year difference.
All right.
So don't feel too bad about yourself, Brandon. Come on now.
Chad's feeling the road jerseys.
I agree with that. That Kevin said that too. Yeah, I agree with the chat here. Definitely road jerseys. But at the same time, hey, listen, more teams need to try out cool color schemes like that. Like, for example, New Jersey with those green Christmas throwback jerseys. I love those. You know, the green with the red. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Those are sick. I like those. Remember the Peace Tower jersey? Those are cool if those are cool for like a warm-up thing. But I don't think I would. I don't think I can cheer for a National Hockey League team wearing those jerseys. If you're talking about AHL, ECHL, or like that just seems like something like an independent baseball team would do.
Wait. Time out. Apparently, the person announcing the Morgan Geeky pick referred to them as the Carolina Panthers.
Wow! Touchdown.
Or like a pick six. Colin Blackwell's a nice pick for Seattle.
Yeah.
From the New York Rangers.
He's a solid fourth line grinder.
Mm-hmm.
I like him.
Good bottom six player.
You can listen, they're gonna show his goals. He's going to bring, he can score maybe once every 10 games, 9 games, whatever. But Colin Blackwell, he's gonna bring something to the team, a different element. He's gonna be basically blocking your shots. He's gonna be creating havoc in front of the net. He's gonna be pushing people to the outside, pushing people into the boards. He's gonna be doing all that dirty work on that fourth line for Seattle. And teams, players like that, as Craig Button mentioned in our special Saturday episode when he joined the show this Saturday. By the way, check that out if you haven't. Listen, a player like Blackwell is so valuable for any National Hockey League team, especially when they're trying to build an identity. And I think, like you mentioned, I think this kid is a poor man's Barclay Goodrow, and I think he can definitely exceed and excel or whatever with Seattle Kraken. Now, in the chat here, I'm trying to collect every Sens jersey. Daniel says they're pretty expensive. Yeah, well, yeah, that's why DH Gate and AliExpress exist. If you want just for yourself, if you're,
hope you don't have a Fanatics sponsorship.
No, listen, I got a Fanatics. Don't be mad. When my dad went to Vegas, he got me a Vegas jersey.
Why are you mad at that?
Well, because it's Vegas. But
I love the Vegas jerseys. I want one.
I'm gonna get Mark Stone on the back though.
Yeah, hell yeah, you are. You better.
Want to see crazy jerseys? Okay, hold on. Let me see.
Oh boy.
Actually, I don't want to knock everything over here.
All my jerseys are home in Sudbury. I just bought my amazing girlfriend just bought me a San Jose Sharks one from the 90s, like one of the teal 90s ones.
Oh, actually.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
Those are sick. Okay, just one sec. I'm gonna show you my jerseys because we are in commercial break right now. All right, so obviously I'm not gonna bother showing the Sens Talk O because like this one. Well, interesting note. On the back, it has my name and number. A lot of people don't know this. I got this from the Sanders organization for free when I interviewed Craig Anderson at the Sens Skills, like in 2014.
That's awesome.
Kudos to the Sens organization. Shout out to them. They treated me really well that day. And whenever people call out the organization, I hate when they do that because people within the organization in Ottawa are some of the best people in hockey. But the jersey I wanted to show you, obviously I got my Belleville one here. You can see that right there.
Belleville red is clean. I have one too.
But this is the one I got up for, and I'm going to show you because I don't want to be standing up the whole time here. But essentially, This is the one that I was speaking about. And this is a St. John's Flames AHL jersey. And it Pronic says Sense Talk turns to Jersey Talk. Yeah, I don't usually get into Jersey Talk, but you know what? Like, I'm not a huge collector, but this is too cool not to pull up.
Oh, that is amazing.
You got the little, you know what
Dude.
I mean? Little patch here. Calgary.
I love that.
My favorite jersey by far, yeah.
That's a really nice jersey.
Awesome. It's awesome. It's a little big. It's a goalie jersey, so you throw that on. I play goalie when we're at the ODR.
I knew Beata would appreciate the Spartacat poster. I was waiting for it.
Oh, yeah. A little, I guess we're just doing what's going on in this live stream? What's happened? But yeah.
If you look at all the merch I've got behind me.
Beautiful. It's like John Cena. I don't see it. But it's funny, actually. I move into a new place in a month and a half, Brandon. I'm moving downtown Ottawa, right? I'm not going to say, I just realized probably shouldn't say where on live stream, but I'm moving downtown Ottawa. And there's going to be a new set. It's going to be really, really cool. And you bet your ass Spartacat will be a part of that set.
Better be.
Come on now. Spartacat, I love Sparty. You know those little stuffed animals of Spartacat? I remember as a kid, I used to always nag my parents to get one.
Nice.
Never did because it was like $35 for like a small little stuffed animal. my dad's like, no, you could get like 2 hot dogs instead. Like, I'm not. What are we doing here? $35 stuffed animal. Pronic is shouting you out, Brandon.
Who shut me out? What? Why?
I don't know. He's clearly delusional. I'm kidding.
He's killing it. Oh, God. Now you've oversold me. You've set the expectations too high. I think the fact that I showed up was enough. I was telling Brandon I've been up since 4. I literally had a nap at 7 o'clock and had to get
I
up.
got a little nervous when I didn't get the response on the text. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, no. I was like, I had my alarm set, but I was like crashing. I've had 2 coffees and a pre-workout today too. You wouldn't, I think Safe is talking about a tour with you because I really don't have much to tour. Like I said, I'm not.
Safe, I got you. When I move into the new place, I'll if you remember my old place with the blue wall where Sense Talk started, I did a special video. I'll be doing a special video again. Don't worry, but that's like in a month. We're not even.
I'm not allowed to.
We're not there yet.
I'm not allowed to decorate this place.
You're not? Well, hey, you know what, Brandon? Move to Ottawa. I'll give you a spot near my room. You can set up a space for eternal budget, create a studio. You're all good. Matthew, Brandon, will you be at the first regular season games with the Kraken versus Sounders? That's if Eugene Melnick and the governments in Canada allow me to go to games. If they do,
you got that vaccine passport,
I'm
buddy.
Vaccinated, so they better let me go because. Come on, let me go to a game, please.
I got 2 doses. I'm gonna be there for at least 1. Like I don't know where I'm gonna end up.
Let me know when you're in Ottawa, buddy. Let me know when you're in Ottawa.
Hell yeah!
I have to do a huge thing.
Yeah, I want to get down soon. I just have no time off right now.
Yeah, I know. Are you based in Toronto right now? Or
yeah.
You're back in Toronto? Okay.
Yeah. I'm still living in Toronto.
I'm probably touching Toronto probably in August for a Blue Jays game.
Nice. We'll link up, grab a beer.
Okay, bet for sure. But the Blue Jays, the fact they're coming back, huge. It's massive for the city of Toronto.
I don't know how I'm going to get to a game, but I really want to.
What do you mean?
Oh, this is tickets. It's going to be a hard ticket to get.
Use the promo code SeatGeek on your first.
There it is.
SeatGeek.com. Use the promo code SensTalk. You'll save $20. You'll find a ticket easily. Lots of things going on in the chat here. Wait, you could book Spartacat to show up at your party?
Apparently.
That's a game changer. When I'm 21, I want Spartacat at the club with me. I need Spartacat at the club with me. Like downtown New York, Spartacat just pulls up.
Beata just said Silver 7 game night when are we allowed in the building?
you may be escorted out politely.
Last time Silver 7 people were in the building, I don't think it went so well for us. What are you throwing at me? Donuts?
Yo, toss me one.
Yeah.
The hell? Why am I being excluded from this? What type of donuts you got there?
I got her a box of Timmy's donuts on my way home.
Oh, it's camp day or something, right? From Timmy's?
Is it? I don't know.
I don't know. That commercial just rings in my head 1,000 times.
She was mad at me, so I bought her donuts. Works every time.
Smart play. That flowers. You know.
I'm talking about my girlfriend.
Who doesn't like donuts? Who doesn't?
I'm talking about my girlfriend more than Pierre Dorian.
Wait, Ben Askren. What's
Boy,
I don't know why Ben Askren's being. Are we talking about?
Oh, he's saying he got laid out like Ben Askren from his vaccine.
That fight was that. Do you think that fight was real? Like
The Jake Paul one or whatever it was? No.
Yeah. There's no. Yeah. If there was no record, so it can't be real.
No.
Daniel, I love that promo. Love you too, bud. Thank you. Probably not. Yeah. Hey, you know what? I'm not personal. I am Sens talk. I think I'm good.
You're probably good.
Yeah.
We at Silver 7 are probably not good.
Like
my brother,
I'm not too harsh on the organization. I'm just real about things. So.
My brother texted me today and said we should go to a Sens game if they make the playoffs next year. And I was saying they probably have a sniper.
Brandon Tanev taken by Seattle.
I was saying they probably have a sniper on the roof waiting for me if I try to go to a Sens game.
Imagine it's Eugene Melnick in the front. You come up, he's like,
Spartacat's on the roof with a tranquilizer gun.
No, it's a net. They want to question in the back.
Like a blow dart.
Oh God! You know that episode from The Office where they tranquilize Stanley with like 4 elements?
Yes.
That'll be you.
Oh God.
Brandon Tanev, from Pittsburgh, solid pick. We already know like who's taking.
Brandon Tanev's a good player. He's going to be really good for this team.
They're on 5 years left on that deal for him, I believe. But a friend of the show, Urinating Tree, big YouTuber.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's probably a little upset about this, to be honest. When Tanev signed for 6 years with Pittsburgh, he wasn't a fan. I can say he's definitely a fan now, and I think he definitely disappoints him a bit. And for a player like firstly, Brandon Tanev, what's going on, buddy? What's happening behind the camera with that photo? He looks freaked out. You see that headshot? He looks terrified. Like, if you're not watching, that's fine. But look up Brandon Tanev's headshot. He looks legitimately petrified. I don't know what's going on behind the camera there, but looks terrified. Yeah, by the way, in the chat box, ask your questions. Because as Brandon and I are just talking about anything at this point, because for some reason the trades are not going to be announced for a little bit. But we got plenty to talk about here. Like, for example, I'm going to throw it on the screen. Good segue, Brandon. We're going to throw it right to this. NHL hockey is returning to Ottawa September 29th as the Ottawa Senators begin their preseason September 26th against the Winnipeg Jets. Now, Brandon, listen, it's preseason hockey. It's preseason hockey. However, preseason hockey is different when you're playing the Habs 3 times and the Leafs 3 times.
Look at Bonks.
Are we for that?
Look at Bonks Mullet's reply. I'm most excited to watch my favorite Senator, Joey Daccord. Oh, that's brilliant.
He got the like on live.
Oh, absolutely.
Live stream.
But no, I think the preseason is going to be interesting because those are 3 teams that are going to have some young players that are competing for roster spots, and that's where they're going to earn them. I think Igor Sokolov is going to get a big look in training camp from the Senators. Guy like Ridley Gregg probably is too. I think you're going to see a lot of Shane Pinto, a lot of Jacob Bernard-Docker, probably a lot of Philip Gustafson, and a lot of Kevin Mandolese. I think it's going to be really interesting to see the training camp battles with Ottawa in particular. Hopefully they blaze through these last 10 picks or whatever it is. Like, I don't like
Parker
what are we
Kelly,
doing?
By the way, Parker Kelly is a sleeper to make the roster.
Parker Kelly, yes. I mean, he's in tough on the left side because you've got Kachuk, Stutzla, Paul, and Formanton, right? So
no, I feel Parker Kelly is such a versatile winger that if he really earned a roster spot, they could put him on the right wing.
Probably, but you got to think about who they're going to have, right? So you're going to have Dadonov's replacement, who's probably an NHLer on some level, and you're going to have Austin Watson, who they are not keen to take out of the lineup ever, and then you got Connor Brown and you got Drake Batherson.
No, that's a fair point. No, when you put it that way, that's fair. We'll see, but I think Parker Kelly is a hell of a player.
He's a honey badger, man.
He's a honey badger. I think that's what this team's going to be. It's one of those tough teams to play against, and I think Ottawa has identified the fact that. The way they win in the National Hockey League these days, you need to have skill, and they got plenty of skill. But you also want to have that old school, rough and tough style, and I think that really fits well into what Ottawa has and what Ottawa has assembled. So
it's just being tough to play against, right?
Yeah, and fun to watch. That's very key. They got to be fun to watch too because you got to sell tickets.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time they were fun to watch. I mean, save for this year. It was the first time in quite a while.
I would say. Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I think in the last 3 years, the only game that was exciting to really watch, there was a few. I remember when Canada was playing Sweden, when Philip Gustafsson was in net against in Buffalo in the World Junior Championship. I remember that night, Canada scored in the last minute 30. Tyler Steenbergen with the GW
Yes, that's
final
true.
90 seconds. And that same night, Ottawa Senator legend Matt Duchene and Mike Hoffman combined for GWG in overtime, coming down from down 5-1 against San Jose. They win it 6-5 in overtime. So there were some fun games because Ottawa has some skill. You just have to remember that locker room was just in shambles. So you're not going to win when you have no core or like real connection in that locker room. I'm no former National Hockey League player, and it doesn't take a genius to realize that hey, if you don't have an actual brotherhood in that locker room, you're not going far.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we've said all we can say about that 2017-2018 team.
We're not talking about it anymore.
I had a conversation with Brian Baston, who covers the Nashville Predators, a little while ago, though, and I really do believe that Matt Duchene was unappreciated during his time in Ottawa, however brief it was. He was the closest thing they've had to a number one center since Jason Spezza. He made some really special plays, man. Like there were games where he just took over. And I think since Spezza, Ottawa hasn't had a center that has been able to do that. So I'm a big Matt Duchene guy. I'm a Matt Duchene truther, if you will.
That's a good point. I think that's actually a really good point. It's unfortunate because I loved Kyle Turris, but he was a 1B, 1A type of situation guy. He was
totally
a true number one. And Ottawa, it's funny. We've always had that issue. I think we all know, I'm not going to really say why. It's up for debate. But I'll just say this. For a number one center, money, big-time money is always involved. And for Ottawa, putting big-time money in one player is not common. No. Especially at a position that's so coveted like the number one center position. So I think for a team like Ottawa that's very careful with their money, I think that's probably why.
And I'm sorry. How are they stretching this whole broadcast over an hour? Like it's going to end after what, an hour and 10 minutes?
No, it should be done within the next 30.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, right? It's like, what are we doing here?
But my point though is Ottawa, unless it's through trade or draft, they never have gotten like a number one center or like even a number two center through free agency. Like never. They never have.
Ever. Yeah, you're probably right.
Ever.
I mean,
like a true number one center. Never.
Spezza's the only one that comes to mind, and he was drafted. Well, Yashin.
Part of the trade.
Yeah, and Yashin was drafted.
Yeah.
So those are the two that really come to mind that are like the only things that they've had close to number one center.
Daniel Tetro says, "My cousin delivered Matt Duchene's second child." Well, thank you for bringing.
Thank you for your service, cousin.
Vancouver.
Ottawa's future.
October 23rd, Saturday night in Canada will be the first game for Seattle.
That's going to be fun.
What were you about to say before?
Just Jack Lucas saying Ottawa's future number one center can be Pinto or Norris. Could be Norris. I don't see Pinto getting there.
I don't know about that. I think Shane Pinto.
He could. I should say that. I mean, when I watch Pinto, he's got some Patrice Bergeron in him. I don't know if he'll ever hit that level, but he's got it in him. So maybe I think Norris is probably the best bet. But time will tell. I don't think the Senators have a surefire number one center in their system. I don't think that's unfair to say.
I think they have three centers right now, in which they're definitely top six. And I'm talking about Josh Norris. I'm talking about Shane Pinto. I'm talking about Ridley Gregg. I think all three of those. Yeah, I think all three of those are top six centers.
Yeah,
now are they number one centers?
No.
I think the only one right now that could potentially be is Josh Norris next year if he continues that performance as he had in that year. We'll have to see how he does next year in a sophomore year. Sophomore slumps are very, very common, so just keep an eye out for that. Not saying it's going to happen, but if it does happen, just know that it's common and it's normal. It's fine. But for Josh Norris, right now, he is the number one center on this team. I don't see a trade changing that considering the names we've heard. So I think Josh Norris will be the number one C. And I think Josh Norris can do it, but I don't think he's that true number one guy. I think Shane Pinto, he has the work ethic to do it, I think. And Ridley Gregg, I think he's a second line center, but I think he could be a top six guy because I think a guy like Ridley Gregg is a different type of center where he's a hard-nosed center, and he's not exactly the biggest guy. So I think a guy like that's really interesting, and you got to bring more to your game. He has some good skating ability. He obviously has some good scoring abilities too. So for Ottawa, I think they got 3 good centers. But yeah, Ottawa's always been missing that true elite number 1 guy.
Yeah, and if Colin White figures it out too, they're even deeper, right? Like you can win without a true number 1 center. It's been done.
The guys on the Locked On Sanders podcast made a great point. I'm glad you mentioned that about him. And it's the fact that they could transition Colin White to the right wing if they lose Evgeny Danilov. And I think that's great. I think he would be really good there on the right wing role anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I compare Colin White on that same, not that same episode, but when I had the Locked On guys on internal budget last week, we talked about Colin White, and the comparison I made was Mike.
It might have been your episode I was actually listening to.
Yeah. But the comparison I made was Mike Fisher, because he's a guy who came highly touted out of junior, in White's case, college. And it took him a few years to figure it out. Like Fisher was drafted in 98, didn't really cement himself as a top 6 forward until 2005, 2006. Yeah. So, it takes time. The center ice position's a hard one to play. I think Colin White's needs to find his role. And I think it's coming. I think he's sort of cementing himself as, a solid bottom 6 player, solid third liner. He's got to get healthy. That's the big thing right now. He could not stay healthy last year. When he was healthy, he looked pretty good for the most part.
Yeah.
So I think if Colin White has a healthy season, we're going to see an improved player. He's already been treated as the whipping boy a little bit. So I hope that has a positive effect, but time will tell. I like Colin White a lot. I've been very vocal in the fact that I think Colin White's going to be a core member of this team for a long time. And I think people won't want to move on from him are foolish.
Well, Beta messaged in the chat, and she said that I'm still a Tim Stützle at center truther. And I think that's a really interesting take.
Could happen.
However, it could definitely happen. However, he really needs to build mass. He's a little too lanky, in my opinion, to be a top 6 center next year. In the future, potentially. But if we're talking about him being a center in the future, it's going to probably start next year if you really want him to be a center.
Maybe near the end of next year, yeah.
Otherwise, you keep him to the wing. And I'm fine. Honestly, I am fine keeping him in the wing. Gives him more space and gives him more ability to find open spaces using his hockey IQ anyways.
There's zero wrong with playing Tim Stützle on the wing. I think, honestly, it might even be better to play him there. I think it opens his offensive game up a little more, which is what you want. You don't get a Tim Stützle to defend. You get a Tim Stützle to score goals and set up goals. I think playing off the wall is good for him in that aspect. And I think having a solid center is going to be huge for him. I mean, he doesn't have Norris because Norris is playing with Brady Tkachuk right now. So I think an Ottawa center figuring it out is going to be huge for Tim. I would expect him to have a monster year this year. I really do. I think the way he looked at the end of last season, oh my God. Yeah. But to answer Matthew's question, yeah, I like Austin Watson still being around. I thought it was, I don't want to say a mistake, but I wouldn't have used a protection spot on him in an expansion draft, mainly because I don't think Seattle would have taken him anyway. Yeah, I agree with that. But I like him as a solid 4th liner. He kills penalties. He's physical. They love him in the room. Nothing negative. Yeah, he is a warrior. Nothing negative to say about Austin Watson. You'll get no Austin Watson hate from me.
You also need to understand there's some things stats don't show. And that's exactly what Austin Watson is. He's a player that stats don't really show the true story because he's a glue guy. He keeps the locker room together, keeps everything light. And that is so, so valuable, as you know, as a former college football player. And I've been in high school locker rooms. Having a glue guy like that can keep the room light, especially during those tough moments, is so key. Because in those tough moments, it's so easy to just get down on yourself, and that can ruin your whole season. So I think a guy like that, a glue guy, is so important. So Watson is key. So Matthew, good question. I'm a fan of keeping him. I just don't think he would have been taken. So I don't really understand why he's in the slot there. And also, I saw another question here. Oh, not question. Sorry. Jonas Donskoy, pardon me, was just taken from the Colorado Avalanche. And he's there right now with one missing tooth in the front, missing chiclet. But he's out there with a beautiful blue jersey. I love these jerseys, Brandon. I love these jerseys. Is
that Donskoy or Alexiak? I think that's Alexiak.
Oh, my God.
It's looking a little tall for Jonas Donskoy.
All right. And it was a nice one. See you, everyone.
That's the end of the broadcast.
Oh my god, that was bad. But I don't know. If that looks like this picture I just saw for Donskoy.
I mean, he's a hockey player.
Yeah, what it's a hockey.
Like
Yeah, it just gave it away. Saif said, "I'd rather have Jimmy be an elite winger than a decent center."
Yeah,
I need that I need a bump. Put that on the wall, maybe. I might not have to put that on the wall.
I see a lot of Marian Hossa when I watch Tim Stutzla, and like Marian Hossa didn't need to play center to affect the game.
I don't know. I would say Marian Hossa because I think Marian Hossa brings more of a physical side.
He definitely had more in the way of defensive. I'm just talking about the way he opens things up offensively and the way he plays and the way he comes off the wall, cuts into the middle of the ice and finds teammates, right? Like that's Hossa to a T. But you're right. Hossa had more of a two-way game.
That's what I'm saying because Hossa was one of the best two-way players to ever play in the league.
Agreed. Absolutely.
So I don't know if Tim Stützle is going to be an incredible two-way guy like that. However, I think Tim Stützle, and this is the guy I wanted when Ottawa had third overall last year. You could watch all the draft coverage that I had at the time. This guy was the best player in the draft, in my opinion, after Alexis Lafreniere, because I thought he's a young Patrick Kane. I'm still going to hold that comparison. Patrick Kane is exactly like Tim Stützle plays exactly like Patrick Kane.
I love the Kane comparison. Yep.
Are they going to be at the same level? I'm not going to say yeah right now. It's definitely possible. But I'm not going to say yeah because Patrick Kane's one of the best players in the National Hockey League. He puts up 100-point seasons. It's very tough to just say, oh, yeah, he's going to do that.
Yeah.
Tim Stützle he has the potential. That's my point here. If you watch his games, Carson Soucy, by the way, from Minnesota to Seattle, just official.
Very good pick.
If you watch his game, it's frankly, it just shows. I don't even know what to say. It's at the end of the day, Ottawa has a good future, and I'm kind of losing my track here. But with Tim Stützle, that comparison with Patrick Kane, he has that dynamic skating, he has that dynamic passing, and he has that dynamic hockey IQ. When you have all three of those things, results will come. So Tim Stützle doesn't bother me. But let's get back to the draft here because Jonas Donskoy was just taken. Soucy was just taken. The Seattle team's starting to come together. Seems like a fun event there in Seattle. A lot of fans there.
Dave Hackstall.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, how do you feel about the hiring of Dave Hackstall?
Didn't love it, but I think there's something there. They see something that they like. I mean, I can say I didn't love the hire, but I didn't interview the guy. I thought Gerard Gallant was a slam dunk for that job. The fact that they didn't go with him surprised me a little bit. I mean, there's something to be said that he doesn't have a long shelf life anywhere, despite the success he's had. I think it was a familiarity with Hackstall more than anything. If I recall correctly, Ron Francis kind of built a rapport with him through the World Hockey Championship a couple of years ago. And they got to know each other and their philosophies there well. So I really, I don't love it. He wasn't my first choice or my second choice for that matter, but the Kraken have shown themselves to be a heady organization so far. So it's really hard for me to kind of take issue with anything they do. Honestly, like we're going to have to see what the on ice product looks like. We don't even know if this is what the roster makeup is going to look like. We know Alexiak's going to be around. We know Larson's going to be around. There's been no Mark Giordano reveal. So, maybe the rumors about flipping him are true, but it's just, there's so many unknowns right now,
You look at your screen here. Sucks. Good for him. Just really sucks to see him leave. Joey Daccord made his first statement after the selection to Seattle. He's fired up, as he should be, because he's going to finally get a true opportunity to be a star or even just a starter in the National Hockey League. So congrats to Joey. We're going to miss the hell out of him, though. He's a great prospect. And once again, we wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, I mean, can't say enough about him. When I interviewed Spiros Anastas for internal budget, who coached him with the Brampton Beast.
Oh, I remember that. That was a really good one. It was.
Thank you. Yeah, Spiros was awesome. But the one thing he said that always stood out to me was he said, Joey Daccord will be an NHL goaltender. He said, funnily enough, the way he phrased it was, I don't know if it will be with Ottawa. Now, here we are. But he said he will be an NHL goaltender. Yeah. So I think Spiros is going to be proven right by Joey going to Seattle.
I think Gustafsson, it was still the right selection to make.
It was 100% the right decision to protect Gustafsson. Yes.
Just based off pedigree.
Younger asset too. Higher. You're right. Higher pedigree. A guy you've invested more time in.
You
right?
paid a
Like
lot for that asset too with that Pittsburgh. You paid a lot. You did. So in that Brassard trade, but
yeah, and he was terrific in the second half of the season. Like I don't think Philip Gustafsson had a bad game all year, you know. So
I think, I think Ottawa, you know what? They have so many goalie prospects. It's not a big loss on the paper side of things, but once again, it's just the actual locker room aspect of things. It sucks. Axe School is asking, so goalie at number 10 now. We'll see. Watch my episode with Craig Button after this stream for more on that. Craig Button had a lot of interesting things to say about number 10 for Ottawa. Anything else here in the chat? Ask some questions, everyone, but we're nearing the end here. Now, I want to throw on the Seattle roster once again because this team, like, how are we feeling about the team?
I like him.
Like, how are we feeling?
You know, we were talking. I think they're pretty comfortably a bubble team right now. Their defense core I like a lot, especially provided they keep Giordano. I think they've got 3 capable goaltenders. I don't know that they have a bona fide starting goaltender. Their forward core in the bottom 6 needs help. I don't think that's disputable. They have a lot of young players there, guys who are probably going to have to come into their own in the AHL level before they really start to make it in the big leagues. And I would imagine that's a need that Seattle is going to address through trades and free agency. But I mean, it's hard not to like the foundation, right? Like they're building from the back end out. And I think that's a sound strategy.
I'll throw it up on, we'll go through everyone right here because that's why people are here. They want to hear our analysis on every pick. We've spoken about the Sanders for the last hour and a bit. Let's talk about the actual expansion draft and break down the Seattle team before we wrap up today's stream. So let's start off with Hayden Fleury from Anaheim, $1.3 million cap hit. He has another year on the deal. I like this for the Seattle Kraken just because, firstly, his brother was selected from Montreal too. And on top of that, Hayden Fleury, the Fleuries in general, had a lot of potential. And I think Fleury is another guy that could be a trade piece, but he could also be an important role guy in that back end for Seattle. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, their blue line depth is really good. They've got a solid top 4, and they have some young options in the Fleury brothers, in Borgen, in Lozon. I like their blue line quite a bit. I think that's the strongest part of their team right now by a fairly wide margin.
Great.
So, I mean, you know, everything else is just gravy. Like I can't say enough about the way they've built this blue line, especially if you hang on to a guy like Giordano, you know. And it sounded like they made a pretty hard run at Dougie Hamilton too.
Makes sense because Ron Francis and the Seattle Carolina connection. That makes sense. Next pick, Tyler Pitlick from Arizona. Not much there. Just a solid depth guy. You know, just another NHL contract. And I don't know if you have much to say about that. Like,
I don't.
Jeremy Lazen, though, he's an interesting guy. He's a younger guy. He's an RFA, so you have another at least 2 years left of control on him at the very minimum. By the way, there's only like 5 or 7 picks left in the draft, so this is perfect timing that we're doing this. But Jeremy Lazen, I think he can really be another guy like Vince Dunn who can really flourish with extra time with the Kraken. What about you?
Yeah, like I said earlier in the show, I like Lozon a lot. I think he's a solid player for them. You know, he's big, he's physical. Marchand, let's go.
You gotta love Marchand.
I love me some Marchand Lynch.
Yeah. Gotta love him. William Borgen, they have his rights. He's an RFA, probably start in the AHL. Now, Mark Giordano, you know more about the situation. What do you know about Mark Giordano right now?
I mean, I think my guess right now is he might be the big reveal at the end. Maybe they'll introduce him as the captain or something like that. But if they don't, that's a guy that they could flip. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that would be interested in the services of Mark Giordano. A lot of contending teams, probably. Like you're probably looking at teams like Colorado and teams like I don't know how they could ever afford it, but Vegas.
Yarncroc is just confirmed, by the way.
Great pick for them too. Yarncroc's a solid player, and they didn't hamstring themselves with a Duchesne or Johansson contract, which is the big thing.
Sissons, very underrated in my opinion.
I like Sissons. Yep. But no, I think as far as Giordano goes, I'm very curious to see what they do. If the Rangers make a play for him, as has been suggested they might do,
Yeah.
that's interesting, because now you're adding Giordano to a blue line that already boasts Adam Fox.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that for the Rangers too.
I love that for the Rangers.
I just don't understand it for them. I think if you're the Rangers, this is a time where you got big money in New York. James Dolan's got plenty of money in his pocket. Go out and get Dougie Hamilton. That's who they should be focusing on. Because if you're a young team like the Rangers, in my opinion, I'll let you finish after me.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'd rather have one of the best right-handed defenders in the league in Dougie Hamilton, one of the best defenders in the league, Norris potential, Adam Fox. Norris trophy winning, right?
Norris
Adam
winner.
Fox. Fantasy, he's on my fantasy team, so that's another bonus for him. That and Dougie Hamilton, that's a Stanley Cup winning blue line. End of story. Now, Adam Fox and Giordano, that's a playoff blue line, but is that a cup contending, cup championship blue line? I don't know.
Bobby Wagner? Yeah. So the other part,
I'm not a Bobby Wagner guy, if you can.
I wonder why. But no, the other part of it is, honestly, if you are the Rangers, you have extensions coming due to Zibanejad and Strome if you don't trade him, and Capo Caco and Alexei Lafreniere in the near future. So to go and blow $8-9 million on Dougie Hamilton, I don't know if that's the smartest move. I think keeping Giordano in the fold at that 6.75. I don't know what his term expires after. Expires after next year. So if you feel like you can bring him back and retain him, then why not? But if he's also a guy that can help push you into a playoff spot next year and help develop a young team, I think that's great.
But I think we've seen from the Rangers, they don't want playoffs; they want contention now. I think
but they're still young, right? Like, so they're not in their window yet.
Exactly why you should bring in a player like Dougie Hamilton, where those players don't usually hit the market.
But you can't.
Time you pounce.
Right, but you don't want to make the same mistake as the Leafs too, because if you sign that contract now, when you don't have the rest of your core locked up, you don't have your number one center locked up, you don't have your number two center locked up, you don't have your young wingers of the future locked up.
Sign Mika first. Yeah, I agree.
Take care of
your stuff.
Yeah, I just don't think you can make the Hamilton signing without getting the other things done, because Zibanejad is going to command big money.
That's fair.
Next summer.
That's just poor management by the Rangers then, because like I said, a team like that with so much money.
Yeah.
That's a player like Dougie Hamilton that would just make so much sense to them.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it's like the Rangers tried to be that team for a long time, where they went for every marquee free agent. It didn't work out for them.
True.
Go ahead. So I think going for the team building approach is a smart thing. How about Seattle taking Mason Appleton over Dylan DeMello?
I love that.
That's the biggest surprise for me. Pierre Dorian, get on the phone and trade for Dylan DeMello.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, there's not many options left in the free agent.
You need a right-hander, and he was one of the better right-handers that's come through Ottawa in the last 10 years, probably.
Yeah.
Go get him. Reunite him with Shabbat.
Now, by the way, they're showing the draft order for Friday's draft. Now, it's important to note that Brandon Maki will be joining us here. We'll have a live show. Well, we'll see. I'll see if I decide to invite you or not. But at 7:30, youtube.com/Sens Talk, we'll have our yearly annual draft live show, 4+ hours of coverage here on youtube.com/Sens Talk. Many, many great guests. Be there or be square. Now, Morgan Geekie taken by the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, trades will be announced tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I fully expect there to be a trade with the Carolina Hurricanes. They did not take, Niederreiter. They did not take Jake Bean, Morgan Geekie. You don't have to say anything there, Brandon.
Thank you.
You're signed for player to be added to the non-protected list for Carolina. There's definitely a side deal there. John Quenneville from Chicago. He's a former but a former good prospect from Chicago.
Shout out to Steve Dangle, because he called that before anyone did.
Shout out to Steve Dangle. Oh. And they brought Cale Fleury or Hayden Fleury. Hayden Fleury's there with the white jersey. This is what I'm saying. They're doing more of this, though. This is what I made my point earlier. They're doing more player introductions. That's great, because it's going to create like a.
Why are you doing them at the end of the show, though? You got 5 picks left.
Yeah, Seattle
fans. Everybody knows who they are.
Seattle fans don't give a damn. They've been waiting years for this. So you think they care? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
They're. Imagine if Ottawa just got their team back. You're soaking every moment of this in.
That's true.
Incredible. Jonas Donskoy. This is easily one of the best picks, I think.
Yep.
For Seattle. He's locked up for a couple more years, provides us a legitimate top 9 guy, top 6 potentially even on this team that can score. He has a OTGWG in the Stanley Cup Finals with San Jose a few years back. And he's known to score in the big game. So I like Jonas Donskoy. What about you?
Yeah, great pick. I think Colorado's probably hurting a little bit that they couldn't protect him. Makes me wonder if they are going to move on from Nazem Kadri after all.
We'll see, yeah.
But
Landeskog.
Well, especially Landeskog is the big one, right? Like, I mean, we haven't even talked about that, but what the hell just happened?
You just pulled the thing out of the.
Did a fuse just blow? What is going on here? You're living in a cave? What's going on?
Yeah, you know what? Pretty much. I'm living in a hovel. I unplugged the lamp. Hold on.
Oh my god. And I'm turning off the screen share so people can get the full. No,
That looks spooky. It's too spooky. Oh god.
As Brandon tries to fix whatever the hell is going on there, we're gonna
Talking
go back.
about not inviting me on your draft show. How can you have a show without me?
Bad voodoo. The power's going out now. Ever since I mentioned that, we'll keep on going here since Brandon Maki is doing Brandon Maki. Oh, and now it looks like things are blowing up.
Let there be life.
And we got life. We're back. Blue Jackets lost Gavin Bayreuther. He's a depth AHL defender. Dallas, we already spoke about for a very long time. Jamie Oleksiak, long-term deal with them. Dennis Chilowicki from Detroit, younger defender, has some potential. I'm kind of surprised they didn't take Troy Stetcher though.
Gotta be a backdoor deal to not take Stetcher. Yeah. Has to be.
I think so. Adam Larson. This would have been a great guy for Ottawa, but for Seattle, he's your number 1 right-handed defenseman now, and he's there for the next 4 years at the very least. 5 years, I guess, 4 years, whatever it is. So good for Adam Larson. And huge loss for Edmonton. You bring in Duncan Keith, who's a downgrade to Adam Larson, and then you lose him for nothing. It's just great asset management going there in Edmonton. Now, as we mentioned, Chris Drager.
Just wait till they sign Zach Hyman to the 8-year deal.
I'm so happy I'm not an Oilers fan.
Oh, God almighty.
Chris Drager. Chris
Drieger.
Yeah, Chris Drieger. I keep on mentioning it. I remember that 60 minutes of shutout hockey in Ottawa, and then he gave up like 5 goals in like 5 minutes. Yeah. But, he's a stud. Defenseman from Los Angeles, Curtis McDermott. You got anything to say about him? I know he has some potential, but he's
tough guy with horrible defensive metrics. Hopefully he can turn it around.
Now, Carson Soucy is a guy that has a lot of potential to be a top 4 guy in the future. He was one of the better prospects that were available, or not prospects, one of the better potential players that were available from Minnesota. And I think Carson Soucy probably should start out in the AHL, but he got some time in the NHL too. And I think depending on trades, if they make some trades, they're going to definitely make some space available for Soucy. I think Soucy's a guy that they can build with too. Now, Kel Fleury, he's a former top guy, but he's kind of fallen off. Maybe they can reclaim that magic. Now, Carl Yarncroc, we just spoke about. I think we both are big fans of Carl Yarncroc. Has good potential, hard-nosed winger, 45-point guy. He's a special team specialist. He can play special teams on the power play, on the penalty kill. He's sort of like a Connor Brown, but less good, I guess. And I like that. He's him and Colton Sissons were 2 players I would have liked if I was Seattle.
The Carolina Hurricanes changed their logo to on Twitter to a black and blue. Yeah. The Panthers, changed their logo to a black and blue Hurricanes logo, and that is too funny. They're wonderful, even though they're a division rival.
There you go.
Yes.
We'll go back to this. Nathan Bastian, you already mentioned you think he could be a solid top 9 guy. Jordan Eberle is interesting. Big cap hit. But he can definitely put some goals in the back of the net for you.
Morgan Geeky just tweeted, "Is now a bad time to tell everybody I have a Pizza Hut gold card."
Man, he's probably fired up, to be honest, Morgan Geeky.
Oh, thank God we get some personality. That's awesome.
Yeah. Blackwell, we already spoke about. He's basically a lesser version of Barclay Goodrow. Not a slant against him. Still very good, but NHL circles right now love Barclay Goodrow. Joey Daccord. We already know about Joey Dax. Friend of the show. Absolute beauty. I expect him to be the starter there within the next 3 years. Carson Twarynski. That's another example of there was definitely a backdoor deal. Brandon Tanev. I know you're a big fan of his.
Huge.
Huge fan of his. He can put some pucks in the back of the net there. He's more of a bottom six grinder, though. Alexander True, I don't know what the expansion list really was for San Jose. I guess it was really bad. I don't know what deal they're going to make with them.
I mean, all their top guys are under no movements, and they don't have a deep prospect pool. I mean, they used a protection spot on Rudy Balcers, who probably wouldn't have been protected by Ottawa, right?
Should have been still in Ottawa, but yeah, at least he's getting appreciated somewhere. Vince Dunn, I think he can potentially be the best defender on this team in a very short period of time. Yanni Gourde will be the best forward on this team. I'm going through this quickly because I don't, unless you want to interject. Jared McCann, like I said, another decent top 9 guy.
Bad
Cole
management by Dubas.
Cole Lind, prospect. Listen, it's always good at a prospect.
Canucks fans are pissed to lose him. He's a good player.
Vegas Golden Knights, they lost the exempt player because they weren't involved. Because
here we go. Here comes Mark Giordano. Is he coming out in the jersey?
Vanacek and then Appleton. Let's see what happens here. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Mark Giordano just selected. And will he be the captain? We'll see.
That's just the ideal addition for an expansion team.
We're talking about his leadership right now.
He's wonderful. That's a huge pickup for them. He's there. So they're not flipping him.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't. And he's not the captain though. There's no C. No C.
I think he will be eventually, but
yeah, I guess they should probably. I guess they have to meet with the coach too, because
well, he's the only guy that's been a captain, right?
Yeah, but you don't necessarily have to name a captain your first year.
No, but if you got a guy like Mark Giordano, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, at the same time though, if he's on a 1-year deal, you don't want to name a captain then see him go in a year away.
Very true. Good point. Point.
So I think for a guy, I think Seattle, they're probably not going to name a captain this year just for that reason alone. What are you going to, unless they bring, if they name Giordano the captain, they totally intend on signing him for at least 2 more years.
I think so. I think he'll probably finish his career in Seattle. I don't see why not.
All-time quote from Mark Giordano: "This is the first time I've been drafted." That's so true. It's crazy story.
That's true. Yeah.
Crazy story. Crazy story. Good for him. And those jerseys. I'm not a fan of I'm a fan, but the home ones are not as good as I thought they were going to be. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little disappointed. They don't look as good as I thought they would be. Maki here is typing. What's going on?
I'm sending Chanel a message telling her she's awesome.
Oh, that's nice. Positivity is key in the world. Oilers re-signed Mike Smith to a 2-year contract worth around $4.
Yeah, that's Oilers gonna Oilers.
Like this is such a waste of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. That's not me crapping on Mike Smith. He's a solid netminder. It's more the fact that they're stuck there like Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani in Los Angeles. It's really too bad.
Ooh, we're throwing the Angels comparisons up there.
They are the Angels of the National Hockey League. Can't prove me wrong.
How many picks are left? Giordano's the last pick, right? Who are they going to end on? Are they going to end on Mason Appleton? Like, oh,
Mason Appleton, my boy.
They already announced him.
Well, let's see if
he's the guy Brady Tkachuk made famous with.
Kyle Lewis is there. He's a decent player for the Mariners. Too bad the Mariners suck though. But
when have they not?
Honestly, they've always wasted. Poor King Felix and poor Ichiro. Honestly,
Ichiro, really.
Best hitter ever. Potentially one of the best hitters ever, Ichiro.
That's a bold
not even
statement.
A hot take.
That's a bold statement, and
Hey, I'm not saying power hitter. I'm saying hitter in general.
Hot takery.
He had the most hits in pro baseball.
I'm just bugging you.
You got me all red here, man. Come on. You got
me some of the most at bats too, though. Come on.
Hey. We look at this. We don't look at the other stats that make.
I'd lead the MLB in hits if I played till I was 65 years old too.
Let's get on the same side here. Vladdy Jr.
MVP.
Best hitter in baseball right now. MVP. For sure. Yeah. As long as we can agree on that. Adam Larson just announced, so it's not done.
Well, they signed him to a contract, so
Shout out to there's been a constant 15 people here at the very least. Shout out to you. Everyone knew the picks already.
Why are you here?
Appreciate you. Come back Friday for sure. That's gonna be live. That's gonna be lit. I can't believe I just used lit. I never. I'm
not coming back unless I'm paid to be there. So.
Well, be ready for disappointment, my friend. SeatGeek. Hey, listen. They pay some, but they don't pay. They don't pay. They don't. I'm not paying the guests.
And there goes your sponsorship.
Hey, shout out to SeatGeek. Great people. If you want tickets on a great deal, best third-party ticket sale website in the entire world. And
too bad Sens probably aren't going to be a lottery team next year. 2022 draft is stacked. I'm guessing that's supposed to be Bedard, not Bernard. Would be
Who
the
cares
perfect.
At this point? Ottawa, we should be done already.
Yeah, no, the rebuild's over. There's no if Ottawa's a lottery team next. It's over in the sense that they're not a basement team anymore. If the Senators are a lottery team next year, something has gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, and I think Saif, he'd be a great number one center. But listen, it's been 3-4 years now. It's time. Let's start contending. Let's start pushing for playoffs. Let's start pushing for contention. Let's start pushing. Pronic says, always coming back unless you start making cringe comments. Well, I hate to break it to you, but that's how I've gotten here to this point. So hate to break it to you there, Pronic, but
don't you know this guy started when he was 13 years old doing this stuff? He's built on cringe.
You can go back, and I sound and look like a completely different person. It's crazy. It's crazy. But we'll have to create a documentary in the near future, maybe if I ever become big. Just Andre says, who do you think the breakthrough player will be for the Senators? Good question. I don't really want to answer that right now because we don't really know what the lineup's going to look like.
I'll answer it. Alex Formenton.
I think it's a good pick. Oh, Pronic agrees with you. He said Jimmy or Formenton. If I'm going to throw a name out there, I'm going to say it's going to be a Shane Pinto. I think he's going to be given a lot of opportunity, and I think he really has the skill set to really flourish with Ottawa.
You got Formenton. He's going to be killing penalties. He's going to be getting some power play time. I mean, he's going to get to show off his entire skill set.
I think even Zub is going to break through even more and become more of a National Hockey League household name. And that's not even a hot take. I feel
like he might be one of those guys who's always just understated. You know what I mean?
Ottawa, eh?
Just one of those. No, not even. Just one of those guys.
Stone treatment.
Yeah.
What's going on with your lights there, buddy? What's going on here?
If I blow on it gently, it comes out.
Oh God! Don't.
Oh God! Hi, Tofu. You bark, I'm gonna kill you.
How is this still going on here? To everyone still in the chat, everyone's still here. Thank you.
Troopers.
You are troopers.
I got no lights. We're all screwed up. The dog that was crate all hell's breaking loose.
What's going on here? Is that David Backus? Who is that? I feel like
it's Dominic Moore.
Yeah, I knew it was some guy from Boston. I knew I recognized.
That's true. He did play for Boston.
Final pick, thank God.
We're on the final pick, so we're gonna wrap it up in the next 5 minutes. Then.
What an underwhelming.
I had a good time just chatting.
Oh yeah, but they promised us all it's a night of side deals.
Oh yeah,
that you get to hear about tomorrow.
Whatever, we'll have more to talk about. Speaking of that though, on Friday we have so many good guests. Josh Bell, a scout. We have him join the show. We got Trevor Shackles. We got Brandon Maki. We got James Wood. We got Matt Bosty. We got the future Sickos guys. We got so many great guys. We got Scott Bedard, big time Habs fan. He's like the Steve Dangle for the Habs. We'll have him on later on Friday night. It should be a fun night. So make sure to stop by, say hello, and stick around for a couple hours Friday night. But tonight's sort of there's a fun little live stream. I didn't really want to make any videos about minus my Craig Button video or interview, but the expansion draft, because honestly for Ottawa, I can write my take on it in a tweet. It's not something you need to sit down for 12 minutes to watch. It's very simple. Ottawa was going to lose Turney, Dadanoff, or Daccord. They lost Daccord. It's unfortunate. Luckily, we have good goalie depth there. I see Zub, James says, more of Mark Mathot. Always is going to be a guy that nobody knows. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
Fair, yeah. Kevin says if the Sens can play the way they did in the second half, they can have a chance at the playoffs for sure. However, their division's so tough. Cole Lynn officially announced, by the way, from Vancouver. That probably wraps it up.
Mendez tweeted, should have had the octopus make this pick too.
Mendes is a beauty.
Just the best guy. Just the best human being.
Did you read that article the other day with Down Goes Brown?
Yeah, the expansion one.
It was cool. I like
Yeah.
it.
Those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
So here they are, the Seattle Kraken.
Good for them. And good for that. Good night. What's your hot take? Matthew says Connor Brown will be in the NHL's top 10 scoring. The hot take, I like the boldness of it.
That is a
Very
on
bold.
fuego take. That is a third-degree burn take. I love it, though. I love the optimism.
I love it. Yeah. Hey, I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right. Yeah, Pronic. Everyone check out Internal Budget on Twitter and on all platforms for where you can listen to podcasts. I've been featured on there one too many times because I'm not too interesting to listen to. I'm kidding. It's been it was always fun going on the show. I always enjoy listening to them.
We'll get you back on soon, and thanks for the shout out, Nick. Appreciate you, brother.
The podcast, I'll be honest, like this is even though I'm friends with Maki, I'm gonna be honest. The only podcasts I truly listen to regularly are the Locked On guys because mine is like I think I do great coverage for hockey considering I do a video after every game. Like that's a lot of work, but guys up there that do like similar, if not more, work and or like just dedication to the craft is the Locked On Sens guys. They are incredible, so I love listening to them. And of course, Internal Budget. I think you have a fair balance and insight on everything too.
Try to.
Now the draft is over. I'm throwing on the Blue Jays game. That is it for today. Friday, July 23rd. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, youtube.com/Sens Talk. We'll have a live draft show for 4+ hours covering the entire first round of the 2021 National Hockey League Draft. Now, Brandon, before we go, please let the fans know who are still here where they can follow you and listen to you on the internet.
Yeah, show up for the Friday show. There may or may not be nudity. You got to tune in to find out. But no, it's at Brandon Maki at Brandon Maki _ on the Twitter. Internal Budget is where you can find the podcast. Writings at Silver 7 Sens, the best source for Ottawa Senators coverage. There is some seriously great coverage coming out of silver7sens.com. Thank you for having me, brother. Always appreciate talking to you, and I am really looking forward to Friday.
Yeah, I think, like I mentioned, we got that Steve Dangle Habs fan guy coming on. James Wood and Matt Bosty are going to join with.
I'm not going on with those guys.
Yeah, well, we're going to force you to because that's going to be a hell of a content for Sens fans. And I think, you know what?
Well, hopefully I'll be drunk by then.
Yeah, you know what? I may have to be a few brews in for that one too, buddy. But besides that, it's been a pleasure. Everyone, thank you for sticking by. It hasn't been the most exciting night, but it's been a fun night. So thank you for stopping by. We will see you Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, youtube.com/Sens Talk for a live show with many great guests. Be there or be square. We'll see you then. Go Sens go.